and you can see what you'll be expected to do, right? So, consider box 9. Do you have a box 9? Yes, okay, cool. Set 86 is even and odd functions again. I taught a lot of this ahead of time, so it's not like you're going to be missing out. You've already learned this. So, 9 is prove that if F and G, if you're given that F and G are odd, that FG is even. Sorry about the terrible pen. Okay. In essence, it's like I should prove that the product of two odd functions is an even function. You with me? Yes. Okay. So this is what we're trying to prove. Prove f of g is even. Anytime you try and prove f or anything is even, you're trying to prove what happens when you put in a negative. Or even an odd, proof-wise, is all about what happens when you put a negative. Now, first of all, read carefully for symbols. That is not f of g, it's f times g, or fg. And so this is the same as when you put a negative x into f, and when you put a negative x into g, and then you multiply, what do you get? Okay. Now, hopefully we've proved that the product is even. Let's go here. Given that f is odd, when you put a negative x into f, what happens? It's negative out. And given that g is odd, when you put a negative into g, what happens? Hello? Negative out. If in both cases you get a switching of the y values, and I multiply those two negatives, I get a positive f of x times a positive. Now, in essence, then I showed that when you put in a negative, you get the same thing as when you put in a positive, fg of normal x. That is the definition of even. It's a proof conceptual kind of problem. All right, that's one type of problem on today's. Can you feel that? Do you feel like that's clear? Yeah. All right, let's talk about integration with even and odd. Look at number 10. Do you have a 10 there? Yeah. Okay, you're given f is odd, and the integral from 0 to 4 of f has a value of 7. They want you to find what is negative 4 to 4 of f. Okay? Now, what is an odd function graphically? Remember the idea of an odd function graphically has symmetry about the origin, all right? So if 0 to 4, I don't know what the graph looks like, but it has a positive area. If it's truly odd, then it should be exactly the same over here, but have a negative area. So what should the integral from negative 4 to 4 read? 0. Okay? Number 11. The integral from negative 4 to 4 of g is 4, and you're given that g is even. That's good, because it definitely couldn't have been odd. Find the integral from 0 to 4 of g. It is 2. Because it's even, there's symmetry about the origin, or about the y-axis. So if the total area from negative 4 to 4 is 4, then 0 to 4 must be exactly half that, because it's got to be the same on both sides. And so this is 2. You got to love these problems. They're pretty easy. Are you with me? Yeah. All right. That's the new stuff right now. Cool. Okay, yeah, I agree. It's sounding like that's the most very good. All right. Ian. Question? No. Prove that. If, not prove that. Prove it. Yeah, no, you're giving it up. Otherwise, you can't do it. All right. Some of you are done with your test corrections, and in that case, you can certainly start working on 86 or finishing set 85 extra practice, which will go over in a minute. I want to give you about 20 minutes or so to work on your test corrections. If after 20 more minutes you still aren't done, you're going to have to come and show us out. I can only dedicate so much class time to these corrections. Understood? If I put your paper in the already done thing, but you rethought it and you want it back, let me know. Please put your phones away. Do not have your phones out. It's time.
I don't need that fast. I was under pressure.
Hey, Corey, what if you do 1D? We didn't do it, though.
Corrections for you. Throw it in my grubby little hand, please. Just raise your hand. I'll take it back from you.
Oh, so it's the new thing. What if I give my answer to like I won't have it? Let me see. I don't have it. I have it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like worth more than 10 points because I'm watching. It's only 2 pages. Just return notes.
Thank you so much. Oh, are they? Well, I do not take you to Corey, excuse me. Are the notes?
All right.
Sure. Oh, wait, no, I switched my staples.
Oh, yeah.
So I made it
If you did not get your test back, it's because I have it in, you're done. I can grade it file, but if you want it back, let me know. Okay? You have about 15, 20 minutes, and then we'll start going over set 85 extra practice. So let's see.
No, like literally.
The first part was finding.
Yeah. See, the problem is like this,
Friday. See, So they still haven't said, like, okay, I'm just gonna say, like, hey, at 5 early, seems still haven't heard from them. Didn't get a formal key from them. No, I didn't even get an email back from them. It's so dumb. When you apply, see, no, like 3 button, which is 0. Yeah. Right. And it's so bad. It's 81 showing. If you scroll reverse, it's like 63 before.
So I should see this. What I mean is from
That's the worst test grade ever.
Do you want to do the back or the front? I want to do all of it.
Like, girl, I'm 42. That's okay. God, I just want that's so bad.
I should probably do I will be at 4.
So if you so there's one.
Every time I go skiing, I have to text Josh. It's really weird. So I think that's like an indication that my phone is horrible. It literally, okay, I had it on 100 when I started going skiing yesterday. I barely used it. By the time I was done, it was dead. So, and then once more, and like, and like 67, it's like 47. That's not like it. My phone is bad. No, more, I mean, look at the no, like, look at the front. Not just a normal color, but like, bro, what happened here? That's new. That is new. What, oh, because I like GoPro in one pocket with my phone. And when I like die, it was like glass. My phone's still even more. Oh, that's horrible.
So I love that you knew to use so you looked at it as zero, this is what the thought is supposed to on this.
There's some water in there.
Cosine's derivative is sine, cool. But because you have a function within a function, really means that you know the derivative. So the derivative outside is cosine, the derivative inside is. And then this guy, I don't know, this guy's derivative is just 0. So I don't even know where this is. Oh, you're looking at it.
Oh,
So that should happen.
Yeah.
That was nothing. And this wasn't sine times 2x, it's of 2x. So it's like. When you're done, I'll take it.
Horrible.
Yes.
So on this, do I just want to say like what the
Well, you can't, you know, on the count test, you've got to go like this, you can't leave, it's crazy. This, you go, with an even symbol, and you don't go out like that, you can't even symbol, it's you to evaluate trade. So you actually have to say, this is, what is, you have to figure out what is 7 times 2, multiply it with actual answer, so you would, okay. Like this, you need to say
Sorry, don't
the,
say that because you face every day.
so you actually, you have to do and for,
She's like, she's like, I photographed him every other day.
get for so much to say so find D score and A.
And I'll tell you how good this is.
So if it's not to the left, you just start by saying it's 0 at all. So you
Why would I
start
write
with
this?
extra point. And then the true calculus of software. So Sauter's equation to find out
Does it do that because the camera will like see the
0, you want to find so we want to undo all this stuff.
Oh, like
it's after something. Well, where is science? The folks are closer. When is closer to 5 or 2? So the angle would have to come out to 5 or 2 or 3, 5 or 2. I don't even know how far I need to go. I really need to go. It's only on 0 to 12. So it's like a little box, but I wasn't sure how many I was going to have to do. Then if you isolate the E, if you don't have that by those possibly by 6 or 5, that gives you
yeah.
possibilities. Then if you
Yeah.
at rest at 3, and this guy would be 5 scans away, these scans and you get 9, and I think we're going to split. And that point, you get velocity from 0 to 12 is at rest at 3 and 9. And basically,
Yeah, exactly.
cosine the curve, but it's actually like I was thinking it's probably hard to make it hard to go.
Okay, I'm
Does that make sense?
But also I thought that it was crazy, so I would have gotten this phone.
You do separate the top and the bottom in the moving parts go 0, but in the derivative, you just it's the derivative of the top goes into the bottom. Is that
I missed one.
Oh, there's a all right, are we?
Wait, sorry. Did I just miss this point?
Needed for the blind
No, I gave you that. I was probably it was for this. It was for the old, yeah. That's not what the idea is. Go back on this. There's some codes are which you don't know about. And we drew a tangent line at 5 to estimate above the true value at 5 still is greater
There's two parts.
All right. Yes.
How do you solve
I'll Snapchat video and send you a video on how you're listening last time. We're going to date it before we do like a live video. That'd be so sick. Bro, what's amazing? So the day of my It's gonna be snowing though, which kind of sucks. No, you can't. I looked it up. It's like so this is so important. Thursday night class on Friday day 3 to 7. Like the snow's gonna be kind of like less heavy. It's like light snow. So I just want to it's like 3's light, but like 7. And the views, the solar fences and San Juan are pretty astonishing. Like all the more rugged well, Saturday I'm coming back, and then you know how I go to Wolfgang sometimes. Wolfgang's my old man. I'm going on with Snow getting Thursday and Friday. Like Saturday would be nuts, and Saturday is sunny. So like that'd be insane.
We need to get those back in about 2 or 3 minutes, and if you need to come in,
Sunday and
7 period or before after school, so be it.
how is that?
So first of all, thank you very much. Our plans.
But then it's yeah. Why? Because you're using them. I know, but the one that you just threw over here is green.
That's
That's
so
just
this is all.
never mind. Okay, I get it.
So because you're using right on and decreasing, that's it. That's because they didn't tell you explicitly our plan is to increase that. You have to actually communicate why you still listen. Why is our besides
Oh, it's
So that requires kind of a logical, not R is going to be down, otherwise. I was going to say,
or
double A. All right.
It's decimal, isn't it? So dumb. 2 divided by 5. It's to be 0. Oh my, that's so dumb. Wait, do pi? What is pi? No, they're usually like this. I thought there would be like a massive number of them.
All right, can I get that back, please? I need you to get this corrected today or at the latest tomorrow. I need to grade these in. Thank you. All right. 1085 extra practice. Are you ready? So ready. Okay, here's a bunch of old homework. As a very minimum, you should have 83, 84, and 85, although there's also a makeup / got it later kind of set too. So look at each stack and pass the stats. All right. Do you have that legal sheet out and ready to go over it and learn? Yay? Okay. That's the spirit. You write them. Requires you to do a little bit of thinking and a little bit of writing. So we did pages 1 and 2 together, so we're on page 3. You see where we're at. Should be the first one, yeah? Okay. Now, whether you know it or not, this problem is actually famous. This is from 2007, the hardest AP calculus of all time. And this question is the only question that had an average less than a 1. The average for this question in 2007 for AB students was something like 0.9. It's missing part B, which is an inverse question. That's actually the hardest part. But A, B, and C, they're no picnic either. There's not one softie in here, in my mind. Okay, so hopefully we won't get a question like this, but if we do, then everybody in the nation will vomit. We'll just have to be less worse than they do, right? All right. If I see a must there be a value and it's H, not H prime, then I should think IVT, beautiful, okay? Must there be a value, IVT. Now, the second thing that I stumble on is H is never actually explicitly given in the table. I don't know any values of H, including at 1 and 3. So what's the next thing I should probably do? Find them. H at 1 is f of g of 1 minus 6. Weird, but it is what it is. What'd you get for f of g of 1 minus 6? 3? That's right. That's what I got. 3, yes. And what about h at 3, which is f of g of 3 minus 6. Negative 7. Wonderful. All right. Now, although h is never given in the table, I'm seeing h go from 3 to negative 7. Does it have to pass through negative 5? Yes. All right. So in saying IDT, you basically do two things, then you say IDT. You first show the conditions are met. What's the condition for IDT? Continuous. H is continuous. They were at least generous with not making you say why it's continuous. But why do you say H is continuous? They never told you H is continuous. They told you F and G are differentiable. So you're going with the prayer that because H is continuous because F and G are differentiable. And you want to cite the betweenness, which is to say that negative 5 is between negative 7 and 3. You could give me a little more, like h of 1 is this, and you could do that, but that's the minimum. So by IDT, and here's where I just regurgitate the question back at them, there is an R for the region from 1 to 3, such that h at that R must be negative 5. Okay? How'd you do that? Why is this highlighted? Stop that being highlighted. There we go. Cool. Okay. Now, if there's a why must there be h prime, then you should think MVT. All right? So, here I pretty much have the things I need to run MVT. I have h at 1 and h at 3. What I need to do is start meeting the conditions. H is continuous and differentiable. And that's because it's built on F and G, which are continuous and differentiable. You don't have to say that, but if you wanted to, you could say because F and G are. So by MVT, there is a C in 1 to 3, such that, now here's where I don't just regurgitate the question. You need to actually show the MVT going on. So, is it F prime? H prime. If I write F prime here, am I in?
No.
No, you're out. You just lost a point. Sorry, there is no, that's not what you mean. H prime at C is, by mean value theorem, it's supposed to say that that instantaneous rate of change equals the average rate of change over the interval, yeah? Now we know h of 3. H at 3 previously was found negative 7. H at 1 is 3 over 2. That is indeed, hey, yeah, look at that. The average rate of change over the interval is negative 5. So there's got to be a place where the instantaneous is negative 5. Okay, C. C, we actually haven't learned that yet, so I'll be anxious to see how intuitive you are. Did you say that C was negative 1? Good, that's not right. It is negative 2. Did you get it? Or not? All right. It is tempting to say that W prime is F, yeah? And that is a little too simplistic. Sorry, no guidance. All right. Let's go here. I'm going to do, students, especially UCC, you do what you work like you do mentally, you're done. I never missed it. Okay, yeah, I show a lot of work, but I never missed it. Never. Here's the thought process. Okay, to find W, wouldn't I take the antiderivative and then evaluate it at the upper minus lower, yeah? It's pretty common to say that the antiderivative of little f is big F. That's pretty common in all textbooks that taught you this. So I could say that W of x is big F at G minus big F at what? 1, right? Stick with me for a second. Now the question isn't about W, it's about W prime. So now I'm going to take the derivative. W prime at x. Now, you'll see here that things are a little more complicated because you've got some chain rule action here. What is the derivative of the big outside function? What's the derivative of big F? Little f. The derivative of the antiderivative is the function by chain rule with the inside the same, but then times g prime, the derivative of the inside. So there is a chain rule here going on. When you take the derivative on that, it's actually f of g times g prime. What about the derivative of big F at 1? Okay, do I really even care that I don't know big F? Don't care, because big F, whatever it is at 1, is a constant, and the derivative of a constant is 0. So it doesn't matter that you don't know big F, the derivative of a constant is 0. Now then, w prime at 3 is f of g of 3 times g prime of 3. Now it's plug and choke time. What is g of 3? Negative, I say it's 4, isn't it? Did I make a mistake here? No, maybe the answer wasn't negative 2. Why did I say it was negative 2?
It's negative 2.
Oh, I'm not done, that's why. What's g prime at 3? 2, okay, so I'm nibbling away. Now what's f of 4? Negative 1 times 2 is? Negative 2. Okay, that was rough. Let's go to this guy, some of these multiple choicers. On a multiple choice question, I don't require that you show the conditions are met. So if you didn't show me, hey, sine is continuous and differentiable, that's okay. But it is smart to check at the very least. Is sine continuous and differentiable? Yeah, it's smooth and is everywhere defined, so we're good. The C that satisfied Rolle's theorem on 0 to 2. What is Rolle's theorem? More specifically, besides there is a place where the instantaneous rate of change equals the average rate of change, it's also the case that the endpoints are equal. And so, because the endpoints are equal, y values, there's got to be a place where the derivative is 0. I hope you are starting to get that into your head. Rolle's theorem is mean value theorem plus horizontal tangent kind of thing. All right, so let's go here. F prime of C equals. This is the mean value theorem assuming conditions are met. What's F prime at C? What's the derivative of sine of pi x? Cosine of pi x times pi. And it's actually cosine of pi c because I'm doing C times pi. Cool. What about f at b? What is f at 2? What's sine of pi over 2 pi? 0, and sine of 0. 0. So I'm really finding where is cosine of pi c times pi equal to 0. Does the pi out here matter? No, it doesn't. Cosine of pi c needs to equal 0. Now let's talk, where's cosine 0? Cosine is 0 if the angle is pi over 2, or 3 pi over 2, or 5 pi over 2. Who's to say? I'll use the restriction here in a second, but that would mean c would have to be 1/2, 3/2, 5/2, yes, but 5/2 is 2.5. It's outside the region. So the answer is E. Okay? Do you agree? All right. This to me goes to whether you have a clue of what this is even about. The idea of the mean value theorem is if you take the average rate of change, or the secant slope, is there a place where the tangent slope is the same? Well, I could draw 1, 2, 3, 4 places where the tangent slope is the same as the average slope, so it is C. Okay? All right. Satisfies the mean value theorem of the closed interval. I understand that this has an asymptote at -2, but is that an issue for this region? No, the answer is no, because that -2 is outside the interval, right? All right, so it seems like it's continuous and differentiable, at least on the interval they give me. So let's talk the idea. Here is the mean value theorem idea. In this case, then you had to take the derivative of the left-hand side. Eventually, now whether you do this at the same time or you find the average slope first and then do the right-hand side is up to you. But I guess I don't want to do all this for you. Did you get an answer of 0? Okay, good deal. Some of you, at least as a possible candidate, you might have got that one if you did the MVT correctly, but that doesn't apply to this. All right? So when I go to grade this, I will check that you have the work to back up that answer. If you don't have the work to back up that answer, it is skipped. All right, number 5. These are free response, so you should be meeting the conditions. F is continuous and differentiable. So by MVT, there is a point that satisfies this here. If you do all that work correctly, and there should be a lot of work, I have that C is the inverse cosine of 2 over pi. For this guy, same deal, a lot of work, F prime at C, mean value theorem. For G, I got that C is 2. And for H, I have that C is 0. Okay? If you'd like to go back over those, we can go over those. Let me get you some answers here. This is a fun one. The Ben rides a unicycle problem. I think this was 2010. Good question. Let's go here. How do you approximate the acceleration at an instant? Wow. Okay. Isn't acceleration the derivative of velocity? Yeah? You could say, this is how you might conceptualize it. It's dv dt at 5, right? Now we can estimate an instantaneous rate of change with an average rate of change. That to me is the concept. Instantaneous, think of the slope between 2 points can be used to estimate the slope at a point nearby. That's what we're doing when I say this. The derivative at 0.5 is close to the rate of change between 2 points. What point should I use if I want to look at how it's changing at 5? 5 is in here, so we're going to use 0 to 10. Over that interval, velocity changed by positive 0.3 meters per second over 10 seconds. So a good estimate of the rate of change is 0.03 meters per second They would grade very carefully for whether you said A at 5 is. If you said anywhere in your work that A at 5 equals, you're out. Okay, it is an estimate. It is not equal to, so don't say it is. Use approximately. Mine is in here. A is approximately 0.03. Okay, how'd that go? Okay, let's go B. What does it mean when you integrate the absolute value of velocity? Is that distance or displacement? Distance. 0 to 60 of the absolute value of V is the distance. Say what it is with units, when it is with units. The distance in what units? In meters, and over what time interval? From 0 minutes to 60 minutes. That's what it is. It is not where it is at time 60. It is not anything else but that. Okay? Last but not least, the Riemann sum. The approximation for this is base times height. Now the first base is 10 seconds, yeah? And if I'm using the left-hand Riemann sum, then do I use 0 or 10? 0 or 10. 0. And do I use B or V? Good question. Neither. You use the absolute value of V at 0. Okay? That's my first rectangle. A base of 10 seconds times the height at the left endpoint V at 0. Plus, the next interval is from 10 to 40. So a 30-second interval times V, or absolute value of V at 10, the left edge, plus the last time interval is from 40 to 60, times the height, which is absolute value of V at 40. If you do that well, you're getting something like 10 times 2 plus 30 times 2.3 plus 20 times 2.5. I'm feeling 20 plus 69 plus 50, 139. And what are the units on that? Meters, because that's the distance the unicycle travels. Okay? C. Must there be a time when the velocity is 2 meters per second? This is a trap question. Is there a time in 40 to 60 where the velocity is 2? And I guarantee you that most of the people this year said, well, shoot, in 40 to 60, it's got a velocity of 2.5 and 4.6. So no, 2 is not in there. It's not true. And is it true? Is that right? Not true. It's wrong, actually. Because if you look at the average change in position, the average change in position is it goes 40 meters in 20 seconds. That is an average rate of change of 2 meters per second. So despite the table not showing 2 meters per second, the average rate of change is 2 meters per second. There must have been a time where it went 2 meters per second. So you are going MVT to B, not IVT to V. So in citing MVT, do I need to say B is continuous and differentiable or V is continuous and differentiable?
Good morning, Devlin.
V.
Please join. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All students, it is not too late to get your tickets for the final weekend of the musical tournament, which runs Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Student tickets are only $8, and Thursday night performance includes raffle. Buy your tickets today at lunch or see the band confirmed the cafeteria for the online ticket website. Don't miss a great show and opportunity to watch your performing arts.
Attention, 8th through 12th grade boys. Our boys volleyball team needs a few more players. If you like playing in the Summer Slam volleyball tournament every year, then our volleyball team is the place for you. Talk to Mr. Powers to get more information.
Okay.
Tryouts are today from 7 to 9 p.m. Come out and
Feels hard. I agree. So
County Sheriff of
it's
Colorado.
not necessary to do the problem, but just so you're clear, you're getting Pythagorean theorem there. Here's the guy in the unicycle,
eligible juniors and seniors.
and this is a Pythagorean calculation where the post is 12. D represents how far it is from the post,
Colorado University for goodness
and L represents the hypotenuse of the triangle.
juniors and sophomores.
That we said, what is the distance changing? They want the LVT.
Junior high students. Junior high student council meeting.
Rate of change means take a derivative. So at the very least, I hope you took a derivative with respect to time.
Social studies teacher.
Middle school tennis is starting on Monday, April 1st. Practices will be at various locations.
Derivative to this side by chain rule.
We will have
2
all of the
L at t times derivative inside L prime at t equals 0 plus 2b at t times derivative inside b prime at t. By the way, b prime at t is equal to velocity.
We leave for the LE conference tomorrow after the.
So 2 times LT
That's all your announcements. Have a great rest of your day.
at the instant time equals 40. The triangle looks like this. This is 12, this is 9. So So that's 15. You had to do a little Pythagorean theorem action. That was 15. L prime at 40 is what you're looking for. And this was given in the table. V at 40 was 9, and V at 40 was 2.5. I got an answer of, what did I get an answer of? 3 ounce meters per second. Okay, did you get that? Shoot. All right, and last but not least, this can be done by MVT on F prime. Here you can see MVT on F prime on the interval 0 to 2. Shows that F double is negative. You would need to show that. That's not enough. That's just getting you started. If you think you can just write that and be done, you're not. So there's a point in 0 to t where the derivative at c is 1. I feel like that can be done by IVT right in here, yeah? IVT for F prime on 0 to 2. And then this one, is this what you have, or you have something different? I think C was impossible. Isn't that the one you asked about, Corey?
Yeah. We said not to do it.
We don't have that.
C, you could skip. There's actually not guaranteed such a point, and I don't want to go there. But there is no such point guaranteed. All right. If you need to fill in the details a little more, come and set up or make sure I get this by the end of the day.